side, and you've got one player. I can't think of one player at Everton you can go, do you know what? He can turn a game. They haven't got a game changer in their lineup either.
When I played against Everton during my day, the Tim Cahill days, Osmonds, it was a tough place to go, Everton.
Horrible.
Always pipped us in the league, always finished above us when we were trying to qualify.
But they had an identity,
places.
didn't they, Gav?
Yeah, they had an identity.
You knew what you was getting out of them.
Lescott, you had these players, Pienaar, and now you look at them and you're like, every year struggling. Everton fans want to get closer to Liverpool and challenge Liverpool, don't you? Not every season are we going to stay up. What's the football going to be like? I really feel for you.
It's been a tough couple of seasons, hasn't it, for Everton, and a tough start as well to this current campaign. Beaten on the opening day of the season by Fulham, went to Villa, lost 4-0, then Wolves were at Goodison Park on the weekend to beat them 1-0. They got Sheffield United away, this Saturday in the Premier League live on TalkSport. But this evening they go to Doncaster in the Carabao Cup, and I'm delighted to say that from the Toffee Blues podcast, Thomas Robertson joins us this afternoon. Hi Tom, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Very good, my friend. Very, very good. Talk to me about Everton. I worry for you guys. I'm not an Everton fan, but I worry for Everton. Do you and your fellow Everton fans share the same worries as we get going in this Premier League campaign?
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's the natural worry there because of the position that we found ourselves in for the past couple of seasons. But I'd say if you really dive into the stats of the first few games, it's not quite as bad as it seems. The obvious problem is that we haven't been able to score goals. I mean, on the first day against Fulham, we definitely deserved to win that game. I mean, it's hard to say that you deserve to win a game if you don't score, but
you did hammer them, didn't you?
Yeah, we created enough chances to win the game, and we were the better team. Against Villa was the only worrying performance, I'd say, out of the three, because it just felt like a lot of performances from last season where one mistake kind of leads to another and it all just collapses. And then against Wolves, it wasn't quite as good as Fulham. I'd say, again, we were probably slightly the better side, but the problem that we've had is we haven't been able to score goals. Calvert-Lewin came back very briefly and got that really unfortunate injury against Villa, but we have just signed a striker. We've just signed Beto from Udinese, who everyone's hoping is going to be the man that's going to score the goals for us, but it's obviously worrying. Nobody wants to lose the first three games of the Premier League season, but there's still plenty of time, and I think there is a recipe there for success this season. It's just about putting the ball in the back of the net.
How has it got to this stage, Tom? You know, my childhood, Everton were in the top 6, 7 every single year, guaranteed. How has it got to the point that kind of year in, year out now, Everton are fighting relegation? I mean, is it as simple as dreadful recruitment? Is that the main factor?
It's definitely a factor, yeah. I think it's quite a simple answer to that question, and it's the board entirely. I think for too long, Mashiri's wasted too much money. We've put ourselves into a position where now we can't spend that much money because we're hamstrung by FFP, and we don't have the money to spend, and having the wrong people in the wrong positions at the club. The recruitment's therefore been terrible. The owner, Mashiri, the chairman, Bill Kenwright, they've had too much of a hand in the players we've been signing. By the sounds of it, we have a very good recruitment team, but it's just been really, really poor recruitment, and we haven't practically replaced Lukaku since he left, 6-7 years ago, and we haven't been able to score goals, and it all comes from the top. It comes from the owner and the board, and it seems like that's going to go on. In the summer, it was suggested that we were going to get investment. It seems like the owner's now messed around that investment for too long that they've now pulled out. So we're left with the same people that have put us in this mess. But hopefully there's enough on the pitch to sort us out of it. But there's a very simple answer to that question, and it's entirely the board. Given
everything you've just said then, the board, the bad recruitment, the bad signings, and given what Sean Dyche has inherited, does that give him leeway? Does that give him time? You know, if we get to the next international break and you guys still don't have many points on the board and you're languishing at the bottom end of the table, do you think the fans are going to give Dyche time to turn things around? Or do you worry that the fans could start turning on Sean Dyche perhaps?
I definitely hope that he's given enough time. I think that he's not, I wouldn't call the Everton manager position particularly fortunate, but I think he's in a relatively fortunate position that the fans have now completely adjusted their expectations. We've been through so many managers and we wanted European football for years and years, but the fans have now completely adjusted to know the fact that that's simply not the reality of the position we're in anymore. So I think he will be given time. I hope he is given time, because I think he's got all the ingredients to make us successful. I think he doesn't play the same style that he played at Burnley. I think everyone was expecting us to just be an entirely back-to-the-wall team. We haven't been that since he came in. Of course, you have to do that at times. There's teams that you simply have to do that against. And if you want to be more solid away from home, that is something you have to do. But I hope he is given the time because, first of all, I can't see any alternative currently that would get us out of this mess. He's got a proven track record of getting teams out of this mess on a much lower budget. I mean, our budget's tiny, but he still had less to spend at Burnley. I hope that he is given the time. I hope everyone's patient with him because you can see the seeds of something good there in the performances this season. We haven't put the ball in the back of the net, but yeah, no, he should absolutely be given more time, and maybe he does have a bit more leeway purely because now we've all readjusted. We know where we are, and we can't keep having this ridiculous turnover of managers.
And a positive. There is a positive already. You mentioned it there. You have brought a new face through the door. Beto's come in from Udinese, and good news, a centre forward, right? That was surely between now and the end of the window, given Dominic Calvert-Lewin's awful injury record, and given the fact that, let's be honest, the other options aren't great. A centre forward was an absolute must, right?
Yeah, it was essential. When Mopé came in last season, I think everyone knew immediately that was not the answer. He's a completely different profile to Calvert-Lewin. He's much smaller. He doesn't win the headers. He doesn't win the aerial duels. And he hasn't been scoring. And even if Calvert-Lewin if he's been in the team and hasn't been scoring, it's still his presence that has that positive knock-on effect on the rest of the side. And we did sign a young striker earlier in the window, Chimiti from Sporting Lisbon, but he's only 19. He's not ready for Premier League football. So we all knew that we needed another striker on top of that. And seemingly the club have gone out and done that. It's a player that they've wanted for quite a while. I think there was interest there in January as well. I'm quite hopeful. He's a very similar profile to Calvert-Lewin. Hopefully it has a solid knock-on effect on the rest of the side. I think he will score goals. I think he'll end up in better positions than Mopé, because if we can't rely on Calvert-Lewin for fitness this season, which I think we probably can, it's the injury against Villa was completely freak and nothing to do with the other injuries. But I think now we've brought in a striker. It was the absolute must. I mean, there were quite a few musts, unfortunately, going into the transfer window, but a striker was definitely top of everyone's priority list. And now we've brought him in. I'm excited to see what he can do.
And final question on the game this evening. It's Doncaster away in the Carabao Cup, bottom of League Two. How does Dyche approach this game this evening? Does he already have one eye on what feels like a massive game on Saturday away at Sheffield United and make some changes? Or does he just think, can't take any risks, name a full-strength team and just get the job done this evening?
I doubt it'll be a full-strength team. As you said, the position they find themselves in, bottom of the Football League currently, that with all due respect to them, they are a side we should easily be beaten, and I think we can do that with a bit of rotation. We need to keep the players fit for the Premier League, and it's always an interesting game, the first round of the League Cup when it comes around every year, because it can be a decent little confidence booster. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I mean, Wolves won 5-0 last night. They're a team who find themselves in a similar position to us, and he will name a rotated side. It won't be a full strength side by any means, but it will be strong enough to win the game. He'll probably want to test out a couple of players as well. But yeah, I mean, we've had players who've been coming back from injuries. We've had players who haven't been included in the squad so far, but even a rotated side should be more than enough to beat them. So yeah, it won't be full strength. I don't think it won't be a complete youth side. It won't be a complete rotation side, but yeah, slightly rotated, but still enough strength to beat them.
Tom, thank you very much. Enjoy the game and speak soon.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
That was Thomas Robinson from the Toffees Blues podcast.